Good morning. Today I thought I would try my hand at making a Christmas wreath. So I've gathered the supplies and let me tell you about them, and then I'll show you as I make it. This will be my first attempt, and not my first attempt at this wreath, but my first attempt ever at making a Christmas wreath. So we'll just see. I gathered supplies from my garden. So all of these things, all of the natural elements come from my garden, and then there's a few other things that I purchased. So the first thing that you need if you're going to make a Christmas wreath is the foundation. So I have purchased over here, you can see, some of these wreath circles. They come in the larger and the smaller size. Of course, you can get them even larger than this. This one's about 12 inches and this one's about 6 inches. I'm going to do a 12-inch today. So those were less than $20. I got 5 for less than $20. Then I bought this off of Etsy. Someone does woodworking and had this lovely little Merry Christmas sign. So I thought that would be pretty for the interior of the wreath to fill it out. I also have my amaranthus that I harvested about a month ago at least, and I dried that, so I'll put some pieces of that on the wreath, some boxwood from my front garden, and then I have a very large long needle pine in my front yard that has grown, oh gosh, I don't know. Well, we got it as a Christmas tree, so it was about maybe a foot tall when we got it as a Christmas tree. It was a tiny little thing, and we just planted it in the front yard, and it has grown to, I don't know, 50 feet. It's just enormous. And so I took some leaves off of that, and we're going to start. The other things that you need are, I'm going to use a glue gun, of course, to put the Merry Christmas piece on. And I have my wire clippers, and you need your wire. Where is my wire? Hold on, I'm going to show you the wire. Here it is. This is called paddle wire, and you just need a wire clippers, and it unspools, and you attach the greens to the wreath foundation with this. I'll show you how I do that. And then, let's see, the last thing is I plucked these out of the ornament box. They're a set of little pine cone ornaments that are sparkly, and I thought those would be fun to add a few to the wreath. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is to attach the Merry Christmas to the center using zip ties. I put small little holes into the Merry Christmas, and I'm going to attach it with zip ties because its diameter does not match the foundation, so I can't hot glue it. So this should work, and I wanted to put it in first because once I kind of tried some of the pine around it, I could see that it was encroaching on the Merry Christmas, so I need to be able to see how it's going to fit before I put the pine on. All right, so I've attached it so it's equidistant on both ends, so it's not exactly at the top frame. This little guy I will, of course, clip off, but I wanted to make sure that the anchor piece was at the back of the wreath, so it's not going to show, and the same at the bottom. The next step is attaching the pine, or attaching the floral to the wreath. So the first thing that I did was I took bunches of the pine. I have gloves on because the pine has a lot of sap. I took bunches of the pine that I thought would be appropriate to put around, and I attached them together with the paddle wire. So what's best to do is to get bunches that you're going to use. So here's a bunch, I've got a bunch here and a bunch here. I'm going to attach all those with paddle wire together, so they're compressed together, and then I'm going to attach them to the actual wire frame. So let me do that first. Let me put all the bunches together, and then we'll start attaching. So here are my bundled branches, and now I'm going to put them on the wreath. But first, I think that I will just test out how they might look. So let's say we do this one. I already attached that one to show you. Maybe we do this one there. If I had a different kind of a needle, I would be placing these differently, but this is very large needles. So, see, that one was too big. Let's try this one. Okay, then maybe this one. And then this one. So when I get it all attached, it might look something like that, and maybe I'll trim the middle a little bit. Okay, so let me take those away, and let me show you. Now this next one here, so this one is placed, right? You place this one on top to cover up the bundling. Then you're just going to take the paddle wire and attach it to the foundation, the wreath foundation. You keep the paddle wire continuous. So in other words, don't cut it off after each one. Just keep it continuous and wrap it around. Let me do that and I'll show you how it looks. All right, so I put all the pine around. I attached it as I suggested. Then I put a little bit of the box wood here, and then a tiny bit of the amaranthus. The amaranthus dried doesn't really work very well in the sense that it crumbles and it breaks. I think if I maybe would have used it sooner, or maybe even spray painted it, it might be more sturdy. But at any rate, it adds a little pop of color. And then I have a natural looking bow here, which I think goes well with the natural theme. And then I'm going to put on a few pine cones, and I'm going to take it to my neighbor. She's 90 plus years old, and she's celebrating Christmas this year here on our street in Encino with her son, and I want to brighten her day a little bit. And here we are with the finished wreath on the guest house door where Jackie and Matt and baby Abby are staying. You know, I think it turned out okay for my first attempt. I put on the little pine cones. I think it gave it a little bit of a sparkle, and I added the gold around the bow, which I like. The amaranthus, again, it continues to decrease in size because parts break off, so that's a problem. But all in all, I think a laudable first attempt. And look what else is on the door. Welcome, Abby. We love you.